gosh. I hope more people come.
Well, they can trickle in, right?
Did you sign me out?
Yes, I did. So if you don't want it, just throw it in the return.
No, I'm gonna take it.
It's a good one.
Started, yeah.
It's a Michigan girl.
I have to take breaks.
It's a Michigan girl.
Here's what I think of this.
Are you ready?
Ready. Although I had a, gonna take a little video.
Thanks, everyone, for coming. I'm sure more people will come in. I'm Sarah. I'm here to introduce Jeff Wellman, a local author. He's written a book called Spirit Gift. And after he speaks to you for a while, then his books are going to be available. Okay, thanks a lot. Good time.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
And thanks for having me here. Appreciate that. And thanks everybody for coming. Stutz. Stutz is here. Okay, so now I have to confess. Yes, I live in Boyne City, but Stutz can tell you that I did go to school right here in this building, middle school, Charlevoix Middle School. So I was raised in Charlevoix. And Stutz had a band class, but I gotta tell you though, then in 8th grade, I wanted to be a drummer, and I crawled into his office and said, "Stutz, I want to play the drums like everybody else." And he took me aside after school and gave me drum lessons, private drum lessons, to catch me up with the other kids. Thank you, Mr. Stutz.
You became the best drummer I had in the class by the end of the year. So that's application.
There you go.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but thank you. So yeah, I was a Charlevoix kid. So you know, I'm telling everybody I'm a local author, and well, I'm kind of local.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to start out by just having everybody relax, but because it's I kind of wrote this book through meditation, and I'll talk about that as we go on. But if everybody could just bear with me a little bit and take a big deep breath in. Count to 2, 1, 2. You can even close your eyes if you want. Let it out. And let it all the way out. Let the breath all the way out so there's nothing left. And breathe in again. And now you can keep breathing. It feels a little bit relaxing, doesn't it? Yeah, kind of gets things going. All right, so I thought I'd start with a little history about myself. My family came out of Lansing and moved me here when I was 10 years old. And I went to this school, as I was saying. And I think my English teacher used to kick me out of class too. I was kind of I'm a double A personality. Go, go, go. I don't know if there's anybody else in the room like that. John Heisey, yeah, I know you. You're that kind of guy. Yeah. I know there you go. Me neither. So that's important. So I went through the middle school here and went to the high school, played football. I'm still in the trophy case of the undefeated football team of 1977. Yes, 1977. And of course I had to play both sides, defensive back, offensive back. And in the spring, I had to run track. I was a sprinter and a hurdler and a pole vaulter. So I was just I'm that type A personality. I go, go, go. So that's kind of where it started. I went off to Michigan State University, got a degree in engineering and a minor in business, and coached the intramural softball team. I just, I never stopped, and I never thought I needed to stop. And then I got my degree, and in the same day or the next day, I was on the road to Colorado because I had already procured a job in Colorado. Not in engineering, because nobody was hiring engineers in 1982. So I got a job in sales. And I got that job in sales because I drove to Colorado my spring break right before I graduated. Spring break, I had a buddy in Colorado Charlevoix grad. And he said, come out skiing. So I said, so I sent resumes out. Of course, all I got was denial letters for an engineering position. So I knew this big firm, a Keebler company, had a big packaging engineering plant. And I said, well, I'm just going to drop in. So I did. I said, hey, I'm here to interview. I sent you a resume. And they said, well, sorry, the packaging department's not hiring at this time. But they said the sales department is. I said, well, let me talk to them. So I became a salesperson. And I don't really see myself as an engineer. I haven't the rest of all my life. So I got this sales position where I had to cover like 6 different states, 6 or 8 different states. I had to drive and as a vacation relief salesperson and take care of these territories. Then I ended up in a territory called Durango, Colorado. If you've ever been to Durango, Colorado, it is beautiful. And it's down in the southwest corner. And there's a mountain there called Purgatory. Well, I was a skier, right? And that's why I went to Colorado in the first place, because I love to ski. So I had this perfect job selling the company car. And I'm 22 years old, right? 21, 22 years old. I have a company car, I have my own territory. I got my territory down to 3 days so I could ski 4. Okay. Met a cute girl, had a condo across the street from the Purgatory, the ski area. I had it made, but was that good enough? No, and because I'm a type A personality, and I said, I want more. This company was recruiting me called Club Discovery. It was a wholesale tour company, and they wanted me to put groups together to ski the mountains, Colorado, and Purgatory, and Telluride, and we used to promote the Telluride Bluegrass Festival, and then we'd also take groups to Mexico. So I was like, this sounds like a lot of fun. Plus, they gave me a pass that I could fly on Southwest Airlines throughout the southern states. So I was from Tucson to Phoenix to LA. I was all over the place. This is important. What I'm getting to is kind of important. It kind of starts my meditation here. So I was having a good time with that until the salesperson in the Phoenix territory left. And I had to go cover that territory. So I got a little apartment down in that territory because I was the director of sales at that point. So I got a little apartment down in Phoenix, and I was communicating with the office for a while, and suddenly the office is not communicating with me. I thought, well, this is weird. So I called a friend of mine, and they said, oh, sorry, Jeff. We heard they went out of business. Well, I'm down in Phoenix putting expenses on my credit card because that's what they told me to do, and they would reimburse my credit card, and they did for a while, obviously, but all of a sudden they're not there. So I finally got a hold of them, and it's like, Jeff, sorry, it's not working. We had to close the shop. Well, I still had 2 weeks left on my lease in this apartment in North Phoenix. But of course, it was beautiful. It was midwinter. It was beautiful. And there was 5 pools complex. And I used to listen to a lot of motivational speakers back then. And anybody here Earl Nightingale? They did tape sets and motivational tape sets and stuff. And Earl Nightingale, I'll never forget, he had a voice like James Earl Jones. So when Earl Nightingale told you to do something, you did it. and he said, you need to think every day. You need to think. You should start your day by thinking quietly in a quiet place. That's my grandson Heath, by the way. So Earl Nightingale, I said, well, if that works for Earl Nightingale, it might work for me. And Earl Nightingale said he'd just grab a cup of coffee and he would sit down and he would just do absolutely nothing but think. And I was at a place where I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I needed to think about things. So I needed to take time to think about what I want to do with my life. I sat by that pool for 2 weeks to end out my lease and just thought, what do I want to do with my life? Well, I didn't know at the time, but this was a version of meditation, right? Just sitting quietly thinking. And I decided, you know what? My family's back in Charlevoix. I'm a salesperson now. I could sell anything. I can move back to Charlevoix and probably sell something, and ended up in real estate, as John Heisey knows. And I've been in real estate for 40 years. But that was my first real meditation experience, if you will. You could call it meditation. I would call it meditation because you're just sitting quietly thinking. So I would challenge everybody here to start that way. If you're not into meditation, just sit quietly and with a cup of coffee. I still meditate with a cup of coffee. But I got into meditation in a couple different ways, but I never believed in it. Right? I took a judo class in college because I had type A personality. Right? Got to do everything I can, and meditation was brought up, and we'd meditate for 5 seconds, and that was it. And then in Colorado, I got a white belt. Right? They start with your white belt in martial arts. So I got a white belt. I think I might have graduated to a green stripe before the semester ended. But they talked about meditation. I didn't care about that. In Colorado, in Durango, I found a karate instructor. And so I started taking karate. And of course, they gave me a white belt. They didn't care about judo. Had to start over with the white belt, right? So I might have got a yellow belt by the time before I moved back. But they talked about meditation. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And so when I moved back here, I decided I liked martial arts, and I found a taekwondo in Petoskey. So I showed them my skills in karate, and they gave me a white belt. You're starting over. But that meditation started coming through there. So it wasn't until then my son, this is my son over here, Tyler. He's taking pictures for me. Tyler, as a 7-year-old kid, wants to get into martial arts, of course, as most kids do. And so I was like, well, hey, there's this martial arts, there's a taekwondo class over in Boyne Falls at the Concord Academy. And I said, let's go. So we started taekwondo together. I started again. I got out of taekwondo in the Petoskey because I started having children, right? I ended up with 3 children. Didn't have time for taekwondo until my son was 7 and said, hey, let's do that. So I showed them my skills in taekwondo, and they gave me a white belt. Again, start over. So 4 times I've started over. But they were more into meditation. Okay, they started the class with a good 5 minutes of meditation, and it started to dawn on me that there's something here. And then I, over and above Earl Nightingale, I kept listening to tapes and books and teachings, and found Wayne Dyer. Most of you will know Wayne Dyer. We lost him a few years ago. And Wayne Dyer was huge into meditation, and he is probably the one that influenced me the most. But from Wayne Dyer, he talked about Deepak Chopra, a very spiritual guy, and Ram Dass. And so I studied all of these guys, and I started to meditate a lot more, and started to really enjoy it. And I'm going to talk about meditation and different ways to meditate a little bit later. But those are great people to listen to. Of course, Wayne Dyer, Ram Dass, Deepak Chopra, very spiritual people. It wasn't until so I'm selling real estate, having children, selling real estate, and my life changed again. I lost the job in Phoenix, Arizona, and this is a time, and that helped me learn a little bit about meditation. My life changed again. My late wife Julie came down with cancer in 2007, and we were struggling with that, and we were all struggling with that. But good news was they told her she had 6 months to live in 2007 with small cell carcinoma of the lung. Got a second opinion, luckily, in Mayo Clinic, and they went in. They took out the lump in her lung and said, "This is breast cancer. We can deal with this." And so we had a good 12-year fight there. 12, and she was amazing, and for 12 years. We lost her in 2019, unfortunately. But there was a huge life-changing experience there. I had started meditating a lot more, and to calm myself down, because not only was I selling real estate, I was buying real estate and developing real estate. And we used to buy apartment buildings, and this is back before the crash of the banks, right, in 2008, before the crash. John knows about that. And we were buying these these apartment buildings, and I was condominiumizing them and selling them off with nothing down, right? Because the banks would do that. If you could fog a mirror, you could get a loan. So I was buying property after property and across the state. And I wrote a book on real estate investment, and it was all over the place. Ended up with 100 units at one time, or about that time. And then the crash happened. My wife got sick, 2007. The crash happened in 2008. I was making a lot of money. I was doing very well. I was really proud of myself and my accomplishments. And I was a millionaire by the time I was 45 years old. And after the crash, I was bankrupt at 48, right? So I needed to step inside myself. And this is where I started meditating a lot more. Luckily, my wife's family invited us to a timeshare on the big island of Hawaii. And this was about 8 years ago. It's called the Sheraton Kona. Sheraton Kona on the big island of Hawaii. And the Sheraton Kona is built on the black lava cliffs. And I found a spot. I get up at 6 a.m. and the rest of the family's sleeping. So I have to do something. So, that's when I meditate most of the time. I took a pillow and I went out onto the cliffs, these black cliffs, and I put a pillow down. I found a niche, put my pillow down, and I sit there every morning. I would sit there every morning. Sun's coming up. I'm in Hawaii. It's beautiful. I was only there for a week, but every morning I was there. And at that time, I was also listening a lot to Deepak Chopra. And Deepak Chopra kept talking about the 7 spiritual layers above Earth. I'm like, what does that mean? But he doesn't really talk about it. So I was like, I need to learn more about this. Well, I basically meditated on that and came up with this. That's where this whole thing came from meditation. It came through me to this book. I don't consider myself an author. This was almost heaven sent. It took me 7 years after that to write the entire book, right? My wife helped me a little bit before she passed, and I finally finished the book last year. And I just want everybody to know that this whole book was through meditation. So that's kind of the history of how I got to where I am. Let's try another breathing exercise. I'd like everybody to close their eyes. Take a big deep breath in. Fill both cavities, your abdomen and your lungs all the way full. Count to 2 and let it all the way out. Now take another deep breath and let this one out. But I want you to drop your left shoulder. Just force that shoulder down. Force that shoulder down. And then force the right shoulder down. Oh, yeah. You feel that? And then you can move your neck around a little bit. One way and then the other slowly. This is how I start my meditation. You got to kind of loosen things up a little bit. Feel better? Okay. So this is where the book came from, meditation. I wanted to do just a quick read a couple chapters because this kind of sets up the book. So if it's okay with you, won't be long. Kalataka could sense the danger before he saw the timber wolf emerge from the bush behind him. It stood 5 feet at the shoulders with its ears back, its cold yellow eyes staring directly at him. The smell of entrails from the elk he had just killed enticed the predator. The young man knew to move slowly while the gray wolf circled him. The fur at its neck stood in attention. Kalataka sheathed his knife, removed his bow from around his body and shoulder. The beast stopped and eyed the hunter, then sauntered forward. The alluring scent of the kill encouraged the wolf as it moved to steal the carcass. The man was in the way, and the wolf saw him as a minor obstacle to its next meal. It all happened quickly. The wolf lunged. Kalataka pulled an arrow from his quiver, set his bow, fired into the middle of the animal's chest. The lack of movement told Kalataka his shot had found its mark. Few men could have acted with the calm precision that Kalataka displayed. Years of hunting for his tribe in the thick northern Michigan woods had prepared him for these extreme situations. He cautiously approached the prone wolf with his knife in hand. As he approached the animal, Kalataka could see the wolf breathing slowly. The last bit of life was draining from the beast, the ground beneath it turning crimson red with blood. Kalataka was drawn to the animal's eyes. He saw something that startled him deeply in the large, dimming pools of the wolf's eyes. There was a sense of recognition as the wolf's eyelids slowly closed. Kalataka brushed away the strange feeling coursing through his mind. After all, this was just a wolf. I wanted to read that because that kind of sets up the book. The entire book is about spirit guides. And the wolf becomes a spirit guide later on in the book to Kalataka, as well as an elk that he killed and a bear that I won't tell you about. These spirit guides that helped me write this book. In fact, it's kind of funny. As you really get into meditation and you calm yourself down, you start to glean the universe. I mean, you start to feel things, just feel different. And when you really get there, you can almost feel people talking to you. And I think it's their spirit guides. And I think it was my spirit guide that helped me with this book. My spirit guide, Okamis, Indian from way back then, and he was a chief. And I chose the name Okamis as the lead character in my book, right? However, my wife Angela back here told me I need to do some give the book away just for sensitivity readings. Like, what for? But she was right. I gave it to the tribe, the Odawa tribe, and several people read it in the Odawa tribe, and they told me they really didn't like me using the name Okamis because he was a very spiritual chief leader. He was a chief, one of their top chiefs, and I kind of thought of Okamis too because I lived near Okamis as a kid, growing up in the Lansing area. But I believe the spirit guide that helped me write this book was Okamis himself. So I know that's you got to just let it in. It's kind of weird, I know, but when you start meditating more and more, yeah, it can be a little weird, but it's also a wonderful thing. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more here. Okay, one more breathing exercise. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Try to visualize the light in your head. And this time as you breathe in, when you get to the top, I want a big smile. I want you to smile. Everybody smile. And let out the breath. And let it back in. Smile. Don't forget to smile. The smile really makes everything more joyful. And you can open your eyes now. There you go. Different ways to meditate. I personally like to sit in my big overstuffed chair in the corner of my home. I sit on a pillow so my legs don't get too cramped up, right? And close my eyes, and I keep a cup of coffee with me. Now, most people that meditate will say, "Well, you can't drink coffee and meditate. What are you, an idiot? You can't." Well, you can meditate however you want. I meditate in that chair in the morning, sometimes at night. I meditate while I'm swimming in the pool. I meditate when I'm on my mountain bike because it clears your head. You want to be clear when you're mountain biking through the woods, because as soon as the wrong thought comes in, you'll hit a tree. I've done it. So, and my wife loves this one. I meditate while I'm driving. I don't close my eyes. Okay? I don't close my eyes. But just driving long distance and taking a deep breath and letting it out. Taking a deep breath and letting out. I tell you what, I've had personal experience with something that happened to me while I was meditating driving that I think saved my life. And I was coming up from Lansing, Michigan. I was on 27. And you know where the Clare exits left? Most of the exits on the freeway exit right. The Clare exits left. I'm in the fast lane. Yeah, don't go there. I'm in the fast lane, but I'm meditating. I'm really in the moment. You can just feel it when you're just relaxed and you get intuition from meditation. And my intuition told me that the car that was in front of me was going to exit left for some reason. I started slowing down, and that car went poof, exited left right in front of me. It's like, whew. So yeah, it's probably not advisable to meditate during driving, but you can meditate anywhere at any time. Sitting down, laying down, totally prone position. Whatever is comfortable for you, okay? Full lotus position. Now, my wife Angela can do that. I cannot sit in a full lotus position. And that's some people say, "Oh, that's how you meditate," right? So when your legs start cramping up, and then they say, "Well, just breathe through the pain." Well, number one, I can't sit in a full lotus position. I can't even sit in a half lotus position. And when my legs start to cramp up, I'm going to spread them out. All right, I'm not going to hurt myself in meditation. You don't need to. You don't need to. I never took Tai Chi. Okay, that's one of the ones I didn't take. But they just bend their knees a little bit and meditate standing up. Does anybody here have a meditation they like to do? Huh? You could try a lot of different ones. So there's different ways to meditate. Does anyone in the audience meditate at all? No? Tried it. Right, okay. So that is the big question right there. We tried it. Every type A personality that talks to me about meditation says, "Well, I can't do that." Type A personality. It's like, "Oh, so am I." It took me a long time. But I persevered. And it was my Taekwondo instructor that made me persevere and keep trying meditation. And I tell you what, it'll change your life. And you can meditate for an hour. You can meditate for a half an hour. You can meditate for 10 seconds. Okay. I can meditate going up an elevator, and just 10 seconds of meditation can really calm you. Just take that deep breath, and taking a deep breath and just thinking about nothing. Try to think about nothing. That's meditation, right? So take a deep breath, think about nothing. Throughout the day, not only does it help clear your mind, but the big breaths that you're taking in is energy. And I think that's releasing endorphins. It's helping the whole body. It's helping the whole spirit. It's good stuff. So I challenge you to try it, and you just try it for 5 seconds. Here's what I do. I count from 60, and this was from Wayne Dyer, by the way. I didn't make any of this stuff up. I took it from other people. Wayne Dyer he said he would look at it, he would think about a clock and a digital clock and count down from 60 to 0. So I think about the number 60. I close my eyes, think about the number 60 with light behind the 60, right? That light, that spiritual light is so important, because I think that's helps bring in those spirit guides, help you with life. And then I move to 59. Okay, so breathe in, breathe out, breathe back in, think about 59. Breathe out, 58. So you keep going, keep going. It'll take some time to get to 0, right? And you're not going to get there immediately. And there are days when I can get to 0, and I tell you what, I feel fabulous, and I feel the intuition coming in, and just the relaxation part of it is amazing. But there are times when I can't get to 55 as well. Okay, so I'll give up. That's just that day. Maybe there's too much going on in my mind at that time. So let it go. So, of course, you start thinking of nothing, and a thought comes in. I forgot to take the garbage out. I got that doctor appointment. Your mind's always going. But just let it go. Thought comes in, think about it, let it go. Any questions about meditation? Come on, Audrey, you meditate. I know you meditate. You have any questions about meditation?
I like what you're saying, that you can do it anywhere, that it's something that is just unique to the person. I love, moving meditation, so walking and things like that. So I think that was a good example. You can really do it while you're driving, and yeah.
Exactly. You can meditate any way you want. And it's just a matter of clearing your mind, or trying to clear your mind. I'm still trying to. I don't travel like Buddha to different planes of existence. The book is about planes of existence. That all came through me from somewhere else, but I've never traveled there, unfortunately. Maybe someday I'll be able to. Doubtful, but it doesn't matter, because meditation is just so relaxing and brings I think the oxygen level in your system brings energy to me anyway. So the book takes place in northern Michigan, of course, my home, on the shores of Lake Charlevoix, Kalataka. I couldn't use Okamus, so I had to use Kalataka is the main character. And Kalataka means guardian of the people. And he falls in love through the book with a gal named Aki. And she's a healer. She had her spirit gift as a healer. Kalataka found his spirit gift as bringing, let me back up. He has a near-death experience, Kalataka. He's on a canoe, big storm. I don't want to tell too much of the book, but big storm. has a near-death experience, travels through the planes of existence and spirit guides teaching him along the way. He brings all that back. That was Kalataka's spirit gift to the world, what he learned in heaven. Aki, his girlfriend, was a healer. She was just a natural healer. And she could feel she tapped into her grandmother who was deceased. She tapped into her great-grandmother who was deceased. But they're all healers. They're a family of healers. So she was a great healer. So they meet and fall in love, and that's all part of the book. So what is your spirit gift? You know, I've sold real estate for 40 years, for Pete's sake. You'd think that was my gift to the, nah, I don't think so. I think God gave me this gift, this book to share with the world. So I've kind of been concentrating on my book, Spirit Gift, over the last several years. So I have discounted it back to $15 tonight. If anybody's interested in the book, it's $15 tonight. It's normally $17.99, so you can buy it on Amazon or anywhere else. We have books back there if anybody's interested. And you know, I knew it wasn't going to be a 2-hour presentation. That's about all I got here. So I appreciate everybody coming.
Great.
That helps. Thanks a lot.
Any questions?
Yeah. Yes.
My question is, what you're sharing your spirit gift. What is it that you have seen others receive when they hear your story and they read your book?
You know, I've had great comments. People that just love the story, and really enjoyed it, which made me happy, of course. And that they were surprised it came from me. High school friends. No, and then there was a spiritual journey, and I'm hoping they try to find their spirit gift, and I think you can by just sitting quietly, and whether that's a full meditation or a cup of coffee in the morning, sitting quietly, thinking about it, just thinking, right?
Surprised you most about your gift.
That it came to me, right? I mean, through meditation. I don't know where it actually came from, but it dropped into me, and I said, okay, here we go. That's what surprised me the most, because I think you missed this part, but I'm no author. I've never been. I did write a book on real estate investment, but I don't consider myself an author. This just came to me from my spirit guides.
Well, your chapters that you read, you wrote, and they were very descriptive. Very good.
Thank you. I had some good editors, for sure. Hi. I'm good. I'm also done. But
6 to 8.
well, yeah, I know. I don't have that much information. I mean, come on, look at me. I'm a Charlotte High School grad. Well,
You got it down, Jeff. Doing great.
book.
Can you give me
I
the
bought it. It's
synopsis on the
really,
book?
it's really good.
Thank you, Annie.
What do you like best about
Well, just the journey. It's kind of a journey.
it? The book was or
Is
is
story.
story?
Okay. And I love, of course, I would love to receive something like that. So I was actually curious about your meditative practices, if you could talk about that, if you haven't already.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit, but I meditate while I'm driving.
He does not.
Yes.
See what you missed?
It's the
I
number one
suppose if
rule.
you get into a meditative state, you can recall that about any time.
Well, yeah, you can, and it becomes easier. Everybody, okay, just stay with it. Stay with it. It gets easier over time. I can get into a meditative state pretty quickly now. And it's just that relaxed state where you feel intuition coming in, right? But it takes time to do that. And you just, I had to drill it in my head. I had to keep practicing. And it's, okay, it's the easiest thing you can do, right? You sit down and think about nothing.
I like it.
But yes, but it's also the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, right? It's so simple, but it's the most difficult thing you do in your life.
So as I recall, he had this journey and he kind of went with it, right?
Kind of went with it. Yes. What do you mean by that?
He didn't fuck it, fight back, or say you can't do this, or
Who, me or Kawataka?
talk.
Yeah, right.
He kind of went, he did as he was called, kind of.
Right.
Mm.
I think you feel he had to. It was his calling. It was his spirit gift. And what Annie's talking about, he travels through the different the planes of existence, and that's these planes of existence. I think I forgot to mention Wayne Dyer didn't talk about those. Deepak Chopra started talking about these planes of existence. I was like, what is he talking about? And he's an Indian, very spiritual Indian, right? Right. Ram Dass talked a little bit about some different planes of existence. But then it was because of Deepak Chopra that I read the Bhagavad Gita.
Mm.
And the Bhagavad Gita, it's into all these different planes of existence. They say there's mainly 7, which is what my book talks about. But they can take it to 32 or something like that. There's just all these different planes of existence where you keep going on. So you get it right. If you don't get it right, you're reincarnated back to a human again. Got to start over.
Where does Nirvana then play into that 7 stages or 30 stages?
I don't know.
It's not a part of it. It's not one of the 30 years.
Well, it could be. It could be, but that didn't come to me. I didn't.
New chapter.
Yeah, new chapter. Right.
Did you see that surprised you?
I'm sorry.
What did you see that surprised you
See what through
when
meditation.
you were meditating?
When you get into a deep meditation, they tell you to think left brain and allow a door to open. That door opens, and that's where your spirit guides come through. And I've done this. I've thought about that door and opened it up. And my sister is the one that always comes through. She passed away when she was 53, right? She was a year older than me. I think my sister was one of my spirit guides, but also this Indian, and I'm convinced it's Okamus. And by the way, I knew I had a spirit guide long before this, and I knew I had an Indian spirit guide long before this because I was on my boat sailing across Lake Michigan to Door County, right? In the middle of Lake Michigan, and then the waves are rolling and stuff, and I love to sail. I also love to be out on the bow pulpit. I mean, not just on the bow, but the bow pulpit that goes out over the water, okay? I could sit out there, and it would drive my family crazy. Like, get back. You're the captain of the boat. You can't be out there. Get back. I said, look, no hands. And a horsefly bit me on the back of my leg like that. I grabbed the thing. It's like, what was that? I think it was my Indian spirit guide saying, hey, pay attention. I really do. And then Okamus came through and helped share this with me. But I couldn't use Okamus, okay? You didn't hear that part. I gave the book to the tribe for a sensitivity reading, and they made some suggestions, and I took those to heart, of course. And their chief Okamus is legend with them. Like, please don't use that name. Like, okay.
Good. Very good, Jeff. You did a nice job.
Thanks, John. Thanks to everybody for coming. This is wonderful. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Have a great night. Go have dinner.
Thank
We
you.
will.
Oh, see, that's why you missed my presentation?
Yeah.
Come here. Hey, that's where I think I'm gonna go.
Oh, so fun.
It was
Empty.
Come here,
really,
Miami.
it was really good.
Would you have dinner together?
Yeah, we all did.
Oh.
We're all late. I could have swore it was from 6 to 8. We've been at 5. We should have been here.
Well, it is a 6 to 8, but you know, I knew I wouldn't go that long. Come on.
Yeah.
Stutzman would have thrown me off the podium.
So, is your book on Audible?
No, not yet. I shouldn't I?
Yeah, because I can't sit down.
Good to see you, Ty.
Hey, good. Good to see you too, Gary.
Yeah. Running the show.
Oh, yeah.
Trying.
We met a long time ago.
Okay, what's your name?
At your rental, the house that you were living in.
Yep.
So you were passing through.